The next piece I'll be talking about is the Sphinx of Wah-ib-re. The city and country of work is presumably Lower Egypt. The specific location of the work today is the Museum for Art History in Vienna, Austria. The artist responsible for the work is unknown, but the medium of work is limestone sculpture. The period of work is Egyptian. The historical relevance of the work is that the Sphinx was originally made for a king, unknown, but General Wah-ib-re had it reworked for his own use. Since the Old Kingdom, Sphinx resembles a power and protection. How long it took to create is unknown, but it's dated in the 30th dynasty, which was the last dynasty where they were independent. And that's sometime between 380 and 343 BC. This work is important because since the Old Kingdom, as I mentioned, Sphinx were symbols of power and protections. As spiritual guardians, artifacts like these help us study the beliefs and values of cultures and people of the past, and even how it affects us today, and like how it led us to this point. The defining characteristics of this work is, well, you'll see in the bottom, there's like a band all the way around it with hieroglyphs, and Wah-ib-re had these inscriptions added to the Sphinx to ensure that they guarded his own tomb. So even though he technically stole it from somewhere else, it is his own tomb, but it's the body of a lion, and you can see it's decently realistic for the time. You can almost see like it almost looks like the bones and the muscles are kind of like peeking out from underneath the skin. It's much more realistic than a lot of other Sphinx, and it has the face of a man on it. In my opinion, it looks kind of like a younger boy, but I guess historically that would have been more of a man than it is today, but whatever. But yeah, it has the face of a young man, and he's wearing like traditional headdress and everything like that, and his tail kind of like wraps around to its side. My personal observation is, like I said, the face looks honestly quite young for being modeled after a man. And why did I choose this work? I know just from like, being alive and knowing basic history that the Sphinx are very important to ancient Egyptian culture and religion. It's kind of surreal to see them in real life and realize that these were part of their religion. This was part of like a burial ceremony. This is very important. And they're buried with these artifacts, even like the little blue hippo. Like, to us, we're like, oh my god, it's a cute blue hippo, but like, that's purposefully buried with someone, and they've been erected. And it's kind of weird to think about. Like, if you, like, we kind of like look at it with a separation between it, but once you remove that degree of separation, it's really weird that we're so comfortable with digging up these things just because it was so long ago, just because it was so far in the past, and we don't necessarily believe these same religious things as them. It doesn't make it any less weird that we're just erecting burial stuff. I had a similar thought process of this in the British Museum, and Professor Hale and I have talked a bit about it. It's a weird battle of morality and history and education. It's just really weird. It's just really surreal to think about and have a little mental battle with. And one fun fact, wait, no, I have to talk about how it's iconic with how it compares to others from the period. My brain's not working today. But it's iconic art of the period. Everyone knows what a Sphinx is. See, even much, much older Great Sphinx, and this one is specifically, it's a bit more matured and it's much more realistic. It could also be because it's much smaller in scale than those Sphinx, but it's very, very typical of the Egyptian kingdom. One fun fact is that the Egyptian Sphinx is a combination of the body of a lion and the head of a king. It is always composed of male elements as opposed to Greek Sphinx, which are female.